So my parents were very young when they had me. They were teenagers, so there were a lot of things they learned along the way. I have younger brother and sisters, so I consider myself the starter child, the practice child, and throughout that process, I was also the practice child for first aid, for injuries, for urgent care. And being that I grew up in a pretty poor family, my mom I would literally have to be dying to go to the hospital. So, for example, one time I was trying to play baseball with the neighborhood boys who were a little older than me, and I wasn't very athletically inclined as a kid, which is why I ended up going into music and theater and things like that. So I trying to play catcher, I got hit in the head with an aluminum bat, big welt on my head. I ran up and down the street yelling that I had brain damage. I'm like 5 years old, I was diagnosing myself as I'm running up and down the street. And my mom said, lie down for a little bit, you'll feel better. So, one time when I lived in the trailer park, I was choking on a chicken bone. And I distinctly remember my mom picking me up by my ankles and vigorously shaking me out at the balcony. I remember I couldn't breathe, my face was turning purple, and I remember her panicked voice. And I'm thinking, what in the hell are you doing? I'm like 4 years old, and I distinctly remember as I'm choking, just wondering, like I was gonna laugh if I could breathe. I would have laughed at that silliness of it all. So, anyways, with that as a bit of a context, we were at my grandparents' house one day, and my grandparents' house was in Barberton, but it was like a farm, as I remember. And so we had tractors, and we had a garden, and my manly uncles would I remember them ripping off the top of a Volkswagen Bug and making it into a dune buggy, riding it around, and we had giant tractor tires that we would play in, and so I remember watching my, manly older relatives siphoning gas from one of the tractors when we were outside. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and I thought, that's a manly thing to do. I was probably I think like 7 years old at the time. And so all of the relatives went inside, and I was outside by myself. So I decided to try my hand at siphoning gas from this tractor, but I only had partial information. You're supposed to suck on the hose and then get that thing away from your mouth, let it go into the bucket. So, being only partially observant, probably from the head injury from the baseball bat, I sucked as hard as I could, and I gulped a giant mouthful of gasoline. And I'm sure many of you have never tasted gasoline and ingested it into your body, so let me just give you a little bit of an insight as to what it feels like. It is not a liquid. It is fire. It felt like, and I distinctly remember this, it was like a wild beast ripping apart my insides. I mean, it was like molten lava, just dissolving into my esophagus and my stomach. And it is such a bizarre thing. It looks like a liquid, but it is fire. So needless to say, once I was, after I did that, I ran into the house and I was screaming and saying, I just swallowed gasoline, I just swallowed gasoline. My mom, being the, savvy, medically trained person she was, she said, drink a glass of milk. As if I just ate some spicy hot wings, and had to just, sleep it off. Drink a glass of milk. So I do love my mom, and she's a great person, but, I can laugh about these things now. So, so I wouldn't advise drinking any gasoline cocktails in the near future. Thank you.